Hey everybody, it's Josh Ellsworth with Stalls. I'm excited to be broadcasting to you live this morning. In the month of August, we'll be going live on every Tuesday and every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I have this week, and Jenna will have next week, and we'll rotate back and forth throughout the month of August with live education. So if you're joining me today, make sure you shout out who you are, where you're watching from. I know we're broadcasting as usual to our different Facebook groups, Stalls Transfer Express and our Heat Press for Profit group, as well as our Stalls TV YouTube channel. And today, the topic is going to be all about transfers, and we're going to walk through some new functionality, at least somewhat new functionality in our EasyView Designer over on transferexpress.com. And I think you're going to be able to get some results that are in high demand right now that pair nicely with our Ultra Color Soft digital screen printed transfer. So I'll walk you through that a bit. We'll give you an overview on EasyView in general, which is our templated designer that basically allows you to have the skills of a graphic artist without having to pay for it. So make art setup your advantage. And then we'll also complete some applications with a couple lesser known transfers that we're running some promos on this month. I've selected Pearl Prints as well as a glow in the dark transfer that we're going to do. And one of our faster growing transfer products from last month is Elasti Prints. So I want to talk to you a little bit about Elasti Prints today. So we'll stretch the gamut on screen printed transfers, cover about 4 different products altogether. But before we get into all of that, I want to make sure that I show you a little bit about what we've been up to and what we are working on. So I don't think I shared this in the Facebook group, but just in case you didn't see this, I wanted to be able to share this here. I did a live a couple weeks back that was focused completely on tone-on-tone printing. And I think this is very popular right now. So the idea of matching the color of your print to the color of your shirt. And actually, I made a performance polo like this for the pastor of my church, where I did our high-vis black reflective on a black polo, and got to watch the live stream this weekend as he was preaching from the pulpit, and you could just see that design pop off, which was awesome to have that little understated branding element. And I know we've been seeing a lot of tonal prints, particularly in the t-shirt market. Tone on tone is popular for graphic tees with sayings and whatnot. And so you can pick from the different products that are available. The 2 that I wanted to make sure I pointed out today, in case you haven't experienced those before, are our clear matte material and our clear gloss material. And so the advantage of the clear material, it's called Super Tech, clear matte and clear gloss. The advantage of these products is they are completely clear when you cut and weed them. And then when you apply them, they create a tonal effect on any garment. So if you like the shiny look, this is the clear gloss, and I've actually heat pressed this twice, dulls it out a little bit so it's not as wet. I like that look, and it feels just like the garment. And then the clear matte gives you a little bit more offset and contrast to the color. It almost looks like you've completed that laser etching process, which is really a high-end decoration technique. Flock is nice as well, so you can see flock there. It's a little bit of a fuzzy texture on the garment, and then the reflective and so on. So experiment with that, try different tone-on-tone effects. The clear is something I'm going to start playing with a little bit more. I was talking to Allison from our team, and she manages our Flex Style category of products, those dimensional emblems that we see a lot on hats. And in brainstorming with her, she said to me that she really doesn't think the clear version of the Flex Style gets enough play and enough out there. You guys don't know about it enough. We need to create some content on that. So I'll be working on creating some designs and ordering some clear Flex Style, which I think is going to be really cool. Clear is actually just a color selection in these dimensional logos, and then you can get clear with the texture to it, as well as flat, I believe. But the texture is what I'm really interested in, getting the clear product with like a textured dot pattern or lines or something like that, and coming up with some just understated branding elements with Flex Style for that tonal effect. So that should be super cool. Stay tuned for that content. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to get the samples ordered this week, and then Jenna's up next week. The following week, be able to bring you some live education on those looks. We are still seeing a ton of progress in our dimensional logos. I review the sales reports as soon as they come out from our Stalls and Transfer Express divisions to see what you guys are buying and what's happening in the market. And something interesting that I saw this month is our leather patch business is starting to really take off. So you guys are finding success with the genuine leather patches. We carry those in 3 colors. They can be applied with a top and bottom heat press ideally, but they can also be applied with top heat only. And we recommend those for headwear, bags, jackets, sort of the low wash cycle stuff. You can wash the product, but just as if you washed a leather jacket, you're going to get a little bit of distressing. So you want to be careful what products you're using the leather patches on, but they're doing tremendously well on hats. And thank you all for sharing pictures of that. One other thing we're working on, and this may be a couple months, but I'd like to give you guys a sneak peek first if you're watching by lives, is these faux leather patches. So that'll be something else that's coming out soon. And you can get some really cool colors and contrasting colors where we laser etch these faux leather patches and be able to present those to you at a little bit more of an economy price point versus the genuine leather. And also in a product that can be applied to a standard wearable like a polo shirt and have a little higher laundering cycle. So we're working on that. We want to make sure we get it dialed in at the correct cost, can present it to you at a good price. So that could be a fun product that you guys can see from us and plan on for this fall heading into holiday season. And we are seeing from all the reports that we're reading that gift giving is happening sooner than ever. Actually, when you look at the online searches and the content that's showing up on a lot of the social sites, people are searching for gifts earlier than ever. It truly is Christmas in July or now in August. So think about that gift giving part of your business and how are you going to get into custom gifting and make it part of your product offering. I know we're all planning for back to school, but don't miss out on some upcoming holidays. So that's a little bit of an intro. I want to say good morning to everybody. We have Mike joining from Canada. Mike inspired the Tone on Tone segment, so we appreciate you asking good questions as always, Mike. And in some ways, those questions turn into content. It keeps our ideas and our brains working. Craig, good to see you. As always, I know Craig's had some success with his 360 cap press and leather patches. He shared some photos with me. Cindy from Colorado, Dimitri, good to see you from Minneapolis. As always, thanks for joining us. Jenna, thanks for helping manage the comments over on Facebook. And I know Danielle and Joe are also logged in, helping on our different groups and channels. Dashiel, good morning from Brooklyn. Good to see Randy, as always. Hope things are going well for you, Randy. Good catching up with you the other day. Todd, thanks for joining. Carl, Anita, lots of folks. So appreciate y'all joining. I see we have folks from Canada, folks from England, folks from Africa joining us on our live this morning. And we're talking about screen printed transfers. So here we go. I have the Transfer Express website pulled up. I'll bring it into a little closer focus here in a second. But if you haven't visited it before, Transfer Express is a stalls company. The website is just transferexpress.com. You can get a whole collection of products there, as well as over at stalls.com, 2 separate divisions of stalls. Need to have separate accounts and explore those products individually. Good news is we educate on all of them because they are both stalls divisions, and we're broadcasting into the Transfer Express Facebook group this morning as well. So we want to welcome everyone watching there. When you visit the Transfer Express homepage, you're going to see a couple ads that pop up to you. So you'll see the full color printing trying Ultra Color Soft. If you guys have been watching, you know we've talked a lot about Ultra Color Soft. I want you to notice the images here. So you'll see some patterns in the images, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how to create those patterns within EasyView this morning. Something else I'm going to show you on the header is you'll see $5 off a $50 purchase of Pearl, Puff, or Glow transfers utilizing this promo code that's right on the website. So if you visit transferexpress.com, you can see those banner products that we're promoting, and you can also get that promo code right there to implement after we show Pearl prints for you, as well as the glow in the dark. I don't have anything Puff today, but we can talk about that a bit as well. When you are in Transfer Express and you create an account, number one, you can always get samples of the different transfer products so you can experience them firsthand, and I encourage that. But this design center is one of the most powerful tools for your business. So all you're going to do is visit here. You're going to click, after you set up an account, Start Designing, and it will pull up what's called the EasyView Designer. And let me bring that into full screen for you here while it loads for me. This EasyView Designer, our graphic designers and artists are always coming up with different layouts that you can use within EasyView. So it'll first say get started. You can, of course, upload your artwork, and we're seeing a lot of growth in custom artwork, but you can also start from what's called an Easy Prints layout. So anytime you're navigating Transfer Express pricing, you'll see a price for Easy Prints and Easy Prints Plus. Easy Prints is basically our templated art that's created within EasyView, whereas Easy Prints Plus is if you uploaded custom artwork. That way you know how to delineate between the price grids. And so you can scroll through here, and Transfer Express sells a marketing kit and idea book. But whenever you are going through here, you'll see everything from motivational to local pride to trending to bestsellers, and that's just in the basic category. Once you get a layout that you like, you can open that and drop it onto your screen. You can work with a layout at a time, but you can also group several layouts onto one transfer sheet. And that's something really important that I want to make sure you understand up front, is that when you buy from Transfer Express, in most cases, and I'll talk about the exceptions, you're buying the full sheet. So this is an 11 1/4 by 14-inch sheet. That's our standard transfer size for all of our Plastisol ink formulas. Plastisol ink is the same thing that screen printers use to screen print your traditional shirt that's sold at retail. We have a variety of Plastisol ink options. They all are an 11 1/4 by 14-inch sheet. And you can see I have one image plus several other little design elements ganged onto one sheet. So you're paying for the sheet, use the sheet, and you will see the sheet size right here at the top of your screen. You can see my standard sheet size is an 11 1/4 by 14. Now, just to give you the lay of the land within EasyView, in case you've never used it, I know many of you are experienced with it. Over on the left-hand side, you'll have all of your add commands to bring extra layouts, clip art, and text onto the screen. Also, your edit commands. So if this is in black Plastisol ink right now, I can select the ink and I can change the color very easily. So you'll see in this design that I have selected, I have two colors. I have black, and I have something called no ink, which is also commonly known to us as show through. That means it's not going to be printed, but it's a design element, but the garment color is going to show through. Don't lose out on this show through. I love show through because it gives you the impact of another color. It gives you a lighter weight feel on the garment, and it keeps your cost down, because with screen printed transfers, we're burning a screen for every color. So you are paying more per transfer as your color count goes up. So that show through is a tremendously powerful color. And at any point, you can change any color to show through within the designer, and you can see the impact it has on your design. All right, so that's where you change your colors. When you buy the Transfer Express marketing kit, you'll get the color selector guide where you can see exactly what turquoise looks like. So you're not just viewing it on screen, you have a physical representation of that swatch. And I'll show you where to get that marketing kit here in a second. So you can change colors there. You can change your sizes of your design there. Right now it's 11.18. Let's say I want it to be 12.5 for the shirt that I'm doing. It can size the height proportionally. You can always lock and unlock that. And you can do all of your font changes here as well. If you select your text element, you can also change the text. So let's just say I'm making this for my local town. Let's make it say Uniontown instead of Compton, because we're going to do a Uniontown t-shirt concept today. All right, so that's where you can change your sizes, your font. When you click on the text becomes live for you to change that as well. So whatever element you click on the screen that's live, that is what you're working with and sizing. And then, of course, within the screen, you can always grab the handles and size it up and down accordingly just by clicking and dragging that as well. Now, so a lot of the design elements are on the left-hand side. I'm going to get into the effects here today, specifically with patterns. But before I go there, let's hop over to the right-hand side of the screen. And that's really where you are going to be selecting your print method that you're going to be using. And so we categorize print methods into a few categories. If I drop that down, you'll see we have the screen print method. That's our traditional Plastisol ink. We have our digital CAD prints. That's like a print cut transfer for those of you that may have printer cutters like a VersaCam. We have non-apparel. Those can be really popular right now for decals and whatnot, for floor graphics or water bottles or banners. All of that can be accessed there. And then we also have full color, which is what we're going to be using today. That's for our digital screen printed transfers. So again, I mentioned to you on the screen print, it's always the 11 1/4 by 14-inch sheet. But as soon as I switch to the full color, it's going to prompt me to select the size of my sheet, because in our full color product, our ultra color soft screen printed transfers, you can do it by the image and you can see all the image sizes here, or you can do it by the full sheet. So I'm going to switch over to the full sheet, and yes, Easy View is free once you create an account over at Transfer Express. This isn't like buying Corel or Illustrator. This is your secret weapon and allows you to design artwork that you're going to order specifically in transfers. You can't download the art and cut it on your vinyl cutter here. It's just for transfers. But you select the sheet size, and now I can see I'm dealing with that full sheet that I'm going to use for ultra color, the ultra color product. Now, before I go too deep into patterns, I want you to understand ultra color and digital screen printed transfers, what they are. So because it's digital, that means I can get as many colors as I want onto one sheet. Our ultra color has a clear carrier as opposed to the paper, so it's easy to see through. And the big benefit here is when you order the full sheet, you can fit multiple logos and unrelated logos up. A cool product and effect that's available in Easy View that'll show this nice is called Symbroidery. So this is ultra color. We've ordered here by the single image, which I believe is the large or extra large image size. And you can see where it looks like it's sewn. It actually has the thread effect that's digitally printed onto this with how we manufacture. So you get the best of both worlds. You get the digital printing, it gives you full color, and you get the screen printing on the back. Let me show you one example on that that'll show you, some different concepts you can do. This is celebrating birth years from 1 month up to 12 months, all on one sheet. Group up your designs. Don't worry about the number of colors, and your price is based on how many sheets you order. Okay. So when we talk about that, that's where we're going to have a big advantage for doing multicolor. And this is where I want to show you how to get into the patterns. So once you select the full color category, it's really going to unlock all the patterns for you. So watch what we do here. We're going to select the outline of the image, right? Actually, let me make a couple copies here. So I'm just going to Control C, and that'll create a copy. So I can position multiples up on the screen, because I'll do these with a couple different patterns for you. And again, these don't have to be related logos. They can be completely different logos and design elements. You can do whatever you want here, and you can literally use every square inch of the sheet. I know that's only 11.5 wide, so let's make this one 11 inch. And then again, don't leave any of this space go, but I don't want to waste your time today. You understand that concept. So select what you want to customize, and then over in the bottom category here, you'll see a show special effects, hide special effects. So it'll start collapsed as hide rather. And then I'm going to click on show, and then that will enable all of the different effects. That's where you're going to get your outlines. That's where you're going to get your arches, being able to apply a distressed effect, which looks especially cool on screen printed styles of transfers. But that's also where I get this pattern. And we've recently added a lot of patterns into this because we've seen the growth in patterns. And so you click add pattern, and you'll see a lot of the same patterns that you can order over from stalls.com in our CAD cut patterns to cut on your vinyl cutter. But the benefit here is we're going to print it for you, and you can also incorporate patterns as part of a larger design with more colors without having to layer. It all comes pre-spaced on one sheet. So let's just say on this particular one, let's go with this outer space pattern. So you can see how cool that is. It applies that pattern just to that element, and I still have the show through. Let's go ahead and apply a different pattern to this one. Let's do, how about this prism fade? Looks pretty cool. So you can add that. And then again, apply pattern. Now I want to show you a vector pattern. So there are raster and vector patterns. The advantage of a vector pattern is that you can actually do a color change on it. So let's just say I wanted to do this. Let's go with the Paisley effect. I believe that's a vector pattern. Once I apply that Paisley effect, it'll take a little bit longer to render here and visualize, but you'll see all of the colors that are in the pattern start to show up over here. So I have that object selected. These are my 4 colors that are in that pattern. If I wanted to make this relevant to my skull, I can change any of the colors by selecting it and just going down and, say the skull's color is red. I can select red. It'll pop up red and render it in that part of the design element. Let's say I want to take the blue, which is the primary color, and let's make that more of let's do more of a burgundy. And it'll take a second to render here, but you'll see these colors in the pattern update and start to change out. So you can create a completely custom pattern from all of the vector designs that are in there. And then the other thing to keep in mind is there are certain layouts that are already set up with patterns. And all you have to do in EasyView is click on the patterns element, and you'll see some of those that we've started to set up where you can color change the pattern that's on there, start to get little popular designs like this that you see that are out there. So whether it's for school or for fashion, you can group all these unrelated patterns. Of course, change the text on this. If I wanted this to be Uniontown to go with the theme, I can create all of these elements all on one sheet, order those. It'll come pre-done for me. All I need to do is trim them apart and heat apply. Now I see that there's some questions coming in, so I want to make sure I get those so we don't leave anybody behind. Adrian asks, how long do these transfer last, and can you print on dark color shirts? And the answer is absolutely, you can print on any color shirts with this. So don't confuse this with sublimation, where you can only do light colors and 65% polyester. These particular transfers have a white layer or an opaque layer on the back that allows you to print even on dark colors, and they maintain their opacity. Also, as far as durability, we guarantee all of these transfers to exceed 50 wash and dry cycles. So you're talking about something that's professionally manufactured for you, that's built to last. And so I wanted to make sure that you could understand the options that are out there, particularly within EasyView. And then once you have everything laid out, you can go over here on the right-hand side is where I'm operating. I can say, hey, these are going to go on to, let's say they're going on to 100% poly performance wear. I want to order, let's say 50 of these, and then it'll populate a price down in the bottom right that says it's $285 for 50 of those. Basically, that means it's about $570 a sheet. And so you can count how many images you can fit up and divide that by 570. Basically, if I were to size these all down, it'd be about $1.50 or so an image, just to give you some concept. But it's all live pricing there on transferexpress.com. And if you want to download the pricing grid, I'll show you where to get that. Just over on transferexpress.com, you can go to the screen printed transfer section right here in the top. And under each particular transfer category, you can download a price grid. So if you're working in full color like we just did, you'll be able to click on the ultra color soft transfers, and you'll be able to download the full pricing sheet right from the screen, or also download the CMYK values in the color palette. The transfers won't fade or crack. They're highly durable, so you don't need to worry about any of that. It's definitely professional grade that you're getting here. Okay. So with that in mind, I want to do some hands-on today to talk about some of these lesser known transfers. We're not going to apply ultra color today. You can look at a lot of our videos and get that experience. We actually, Jenna, I believe, ordered some boutique-like prints with patterns in it that I'm excited to see what she comes up with to inspire you guys on how to use the patterns with ultra color soft. Make sure you subscribe to our Stalls TV YouTube channel to be able to see those videos as soon as they're released. But today, I want to do the more hands-on with the Pearl Prints product, the Elasti Prints, and also the glow in the dark. So Pearl Prints, let's start there. Looks a lot like our standard goof-proof transfers when you receive it. However, you can the finish on it is, as you might imagine, it has that pearlescent effect to it. When you look at Pearl Prints, you'll notice that it doesn't have the alignment grid on the other side that our normal transfers have. And there's a reduced color offering. You can get all the colors over on the Transfer Express website. I'm going to be working with like a rose gold, like pink, and also a purple color today. And we're going to be trimming these apart and heat applying them over at the press. So I'm going to bring you a little bit closer to my heat press. So you can get a better view. I'll be operating on the Hotronix auto clam heat press, which is the heat press that I have here in my home that I've owned for about 5 years and still going strong. Pressed a lot of shirts on this. I have my temperature already set to 340 degrees. And so I just hit the mode button. I can set my temperature, and I have my time set for 10 seconds. Actually, I have 5 seconds and then 10 seconds to allow me time to do a preheat. And so the first garment that I'm going to press today is a district garment. It's a 60/40 garment from available on Transfer Express's website that you can buy under the blank apparel section. And I love to split the garments and thread them onto the press anytime I'm printing, because that helps me get to that single layer of print space, and it prevents any seams pressing through or scorching or having any of those issues. So the Pearl Prints is 340 degrees, 10 seconds, and it's a medium pressure, and it's a cold peel. And so again, I've ganged all of these designs up. So I'm going to grab my scissors, and this particular design has, let's see, 2 bridesmaid designs on it, a bride design, and then 3 pocket-sized designs that could easily be for a handbag or something like that, to say bride and bridesmaid. So it's a nice grouping. So let's go ahead and we'll do the main design, which is the bride design. And so when you think of sales opportunities for Pearl Prints, it definitely tends to play more towards the female demographic, I would say, as a rule of thumb. But actually, I saw Dimitri, I believe it was, that's watching today, post on our Heat Press for Profit group about, does glitter flake even appeal to men? And I saw some interesting comments that some customers are doing a ton of glitter for men's apparel. And I think what ties in nicely to this is our tone-on-tone effect. So I think the pearlescent, the Pearl Prints, would be a great product for tone-on-tone for men or women. But particular shirt that I'm doing now, of course, is geared towards women. We have the bride shirt. It's going to apply for 10 seconds. Never use a cover sheet with the traditional screen printed transfers. The paper does act as the cover sheet. Press would auto open, but because it's a cold peel, I usually like to catch the handle so it doesn't create a vacuum effect and start lifting at any of the edges. And then I grab my shirt, I'm going to remove it from the press, and we're going to let it cool completely down before we peel the backing. But it was funny this weekend. My brother actually sent me a text. He works in the business too, for those of you that don't know. He actually runs one of our decorating fulfillment centers here in Pennsylvania, where we do licensed sports decoration, is where he ended up over the past year or so. And he sent me a text because his kids are into watching videos on TikTok and whatnot. And I know there's a controversy, but he sent me a text of a young lady that did a video on Transfer Express and how easy it is to apply transfers to create your own tags inside of labels and whatnot. And there were so many comments, so many likes. And if you guys haven't seen transfers before, it's just so easy. There's no cutting, there's no weeding. A lot of people are now coming into this industry from the vinyl cutter standpoint, and they're used to having to cut and weed everything. But once you get to a certain quantity, you should just order a screen printed transfer. If you're cutting and weeding basic designs that are like 50 pieces, even 30 pieces, do yourself a favor. Try screen printed transfers. It's going to make your life a lot easier. So we have that one. It's going to cool down. I'm going to grab another shirt because I want to show you a little bit of what to watch out for. This is a Sophie shirt, and it's 50% poly, 25% cotton, 25% rayon. So bonus points for anybody who knows what that's typically called in the industry. That's called a tri-blend. So if you got that right, congratulations. Very fancy term. That means there's 3 fabrics in the particular composition of the garment, and it's almost, well, I think it is always cotton, poly, and rayon, but sometimes you get different percentages of the of each fabric in there. Usually you always get 50% of cotton. I've seen it 38 poly and 12 rayon. Then I've seen it 25 and 25 as your common compositions. Now, one word of caution on tri-blends, especially darker color fabrics, is you can get more scorching. It tends to show scorching more often. And so I wanted to print one anyways to see if we're going to scorch here at 340 degrees, so I can make the mistake and you won't make it But the tip that I wanted to give you is that when you are decorating, it's easy, but you have to think of what your product applies at and your fabric composition of your garment. We can't do that thinking for you. Even though it says it applies to polyester, you need to make sure that your polyester is not heat sensitive and it's not going to scorch. So know your fabrics, order some blank apparel in, test them at the application settings for the transfers that you're about to order. If it scorches, don't order those transfers. Get in your arsenal transfers that will apply at a low temp. Somebody wants that super nice heat sensitive fabric, you're going to have to go with a lower temp application. And that's one of the reasons, after we press our glow one here in a second, one of the reasons I've incorporated Elasti Prints as one of our fastest growing products into this educational session, because that is a solution for a lower temp application. It's 300 degrees standard, but we have some customers even applying those down at 275 degrees on super heat sensitive stuff. So I just positioned this in press. You didn't miss anything there. And I'm going to wait for it to cool down, just a different color of pearl prints onto that fabric. Wanted to see if it would scorch up at 340 degrees. All right, so we're letting this cool down here and bring it to a better view. And we're just going to peel off the backing. It's a nice, easy release. If it's done right, you shouldn't have any issues. And wow, I think that's really nice. So you get that pearlescent effect to it. Hopefully you're catching that. This garment isn't scorching. This was the 60/40 one. No issues there. And you kind of have that nice sheen to it that it's just a little something. All right. It's not foil. It's not, you shouldn't expect it to be foil, but it's a little bit more understated. It's between flat and a foil. I really like it because I don't necessarily want to wear something that's completely blinged out, but this is understated and very classy, I think. So a nice completed result. You could trim those apart and decorate all the items. Again, that's Pearl Prints, same product that I applied to this black shirt. Should be just about done cooling. Releases nicely. There should, if you did it correctly, there should be no ink left behind on the paper. If there's ink left behind on the paper with pearl prints, that's typically an indication that your heat press isn't accurate, or perhaps you didn't have enough pressure. Okay, so using a high quality heat press is important here. And so you can see the nice contrast. You can see the level of detail is really what I want you to see. Let me inspect this myself here. Actually, at 340, this one did pretty well. I'm not seeing very light scorch mark on the outside edge. You guys know that when you're printing like the full front, that scorch mark is tough to see because it falls on the person here on the side seam. So that is ideal, right? Instead of being a small isolated area where you see that box. So I would say that it definitely scorched this shirt a little bit, but that is totally sellable because of how I was able to fit the shirt on the full press, and you're not seeing a really harsh line for the scorch mark. So again, this is a, I guess you would call it an off the shoulder probably. It's a little bit wider than a scoop neck, and it's a crop top, and the brand is Sweat and Grace from Sophie, which is spelled SOFFE, and they do blank wholesale apparel as well. That's where my wife and I sourced a lot of our blanks for the dance market that we were serving in our side hustle a couple years ago. So I had that one left over. All right. So that's Pearl Prints. We've linked to it. Check it out. I see Dashiel asked a question. Yeah, I'll show this. Test from our team at Stalls. That is important. Dashiel asked a question. I actually wanted to know what the best option is to use for printed labels. So the tagless labels that you put on the inside of the garment. And we're in the very infant stages of coming out with something really cool long-term for you. That's all I can give you today, but keep watching and you'll get it hopefully by the end of the year. But when we talk about tagless label printing, one of my favorite products, if you're doing volume for your brand, is our AquaTrue. All right, so that allows you really super fine detail. It's a water-based transfer. That's one of my favorites. However, if you don't have like super fine detail in your text, typically people will leave the care garment on. That's the composition and the tracking number for the garment, and just add their brand in addition to it. Certainly you could use Goof Proof or Elasti Prints for that. You just got to be careful that if you're doing really small text, you don't want those holes to close up when you press it, and so it's not legible. Okay. The next one, give you another concept. All right, so here we go. This is a mini tee. So 2 ideas here. One is we're going to press a glow transfer. And so we'll get to experience that product. Hopefully I can get it flat enough to be able to do it because I do have those seams up on it. So we're doing a little risk here to create this sample. But really, I wanted you to think about this. Something I've been thinking about a lot is how in the heck am I going to communicate with you and let you see our product in the absence of trade shows and events in face-to-face contact? We've been doing it here, doing an okay job, but we work in a very touch and feel industry. So you have to be creative and think about new ways for your customers to touch the quality of the product. And so I think small samples, mini teas, and little marketing promos are a great way to do that. This happens to be a product that is sold. Another great vehicle just to put a sample on is a face cover. Who doesn't need a face cover right now, right? To test the print effect and even sample that. So do some cost comparisons. But the concept here is make these, send them to your local businesses, perhaps with their logo and a sales brochure. Let them know you're around, send them your price grid, whatever you want to do, but use this as a marketing tool that'll fit inside of some basic mail for maybe just an extra stamp, okay? So I'm going to preheat this. I'm going to grab my glow transfer, and it's tough to see because it's on white. Maybe we'll be able to see. You can see some different designs there. And so glow in the dark, think beyond Halloween. There are some sort of Halloween designs here, but think beyond Halloween. In this particular case, we're doing a design that someone came up with that has a light bulb that says Omega Electric. So bars, nightclubs, electrical companies, anybody that wants to increase the visibility. Glow starts as kind of like an off-white once it's heat applied, and then it charges in the daylight or in normal room lighting, as long as it's not tucked in a drawer 3 layers deep. And when it goes out and hits darkness, it will glow lime. So it's a really cool product. And so, again, we gang this up. We just trim this off to get to a single transfer. I'm going to position that into place. Glow is another one of those products that applies at 340 degrees for 10 seconds at a medium pressure. Going to increase the pressure slightly. Here's another tip because I'm fighting through these seams to get to the good contact because this is doing a full print on this t-shirt. Not a best practice, but sometimes you have to maneuver and do some things. And so you never want to use a heat printing pillow with transfers. You always want to use a Print Perfect pad or your standard platen. We're going to let this cool down. Again, it's a warm peel, so I can get away with peeling it while it's just slightly cooled down, somewhere in between completely cool and hot. And then we will peel it here in 1 sec. And we've linked to the glow screen printed transfers and some of our conversations there. When you start to peel it, you'll have it kind of hold the paper a little bit if it's too warm, but we remove it and we have our glow in the dark transfer. Again, it starts as kind of an off-white, has decent opacity, but a little bit of show through from that garment. We get those details. Of course, it's tough to show you glowing here, but what I'll do is I'll take a photo and I'll post it in a dark room, showing it glowing after I charge it here within our Heat Press for Profit Facebook group. So if you're on Facebook and you're not a part of our Heat Press for Profit group, that's your assignment now. Open up Facebook, search for Heat Press for Profit under groups. Make sure you fill out the questions or we won't let you in. We want to make sure you're in the business of printing apparel. We just don't want random customers on there. Fill out those questions and we'll add you to the group. And there's some great ideas and conversation there. Thanks for those that have joined and are watching from there. So nice sample. I can easily mail this with a nice letter with my business card. And it's probably something. I mean, how many of you running a business have ever received something like this or a local business? You can probably count it on one hand over the last 5 years, if at all. So figure out ways to stand out and get product into people's hands, showing them their colors, their logo, if possible. All right. I need to bring this down. I'm at 340 degrees. I'm going to bring this down to 300 for our Elasti Prints product. While I'm waiting for it to get there, I'm going to just turn my computer a little bit and take a look at some of your questions coming in. All right. So Adrian asked, if it scorches the shirt, drop the temp down to 275 to 300 for how long? So Just want to make sure we didn't miss this. I think, but every transfer comes with its recipe for what it's to be applied for. There are very specific instructions that are included with those transfers. Elasti Prints is recommended at 300 degrees for 15 seconds. However, you can drop that down to 275 for 15 seconds. That's on the application sheet. It's an option for you, but you would never want to drop like glow in the dark down to 275 when it's recommended for 340, because you would have issues with washing. So good to see Mike from Cleveland, Ohio. I wanted to shout out there because that's where our Transfer Express main manufacturing center is, just outside of in Menor, Ohio. And we also now have, for those of you watching on the West Coast, we have West Coast manufacturing in Chandler, Arizona. And one of our biggest benefits as a screen printed transfer manufacturer is speed. Not only do we make the product quick, but we ship it quick. And so literally once it ships, it's 2-day delivery anywhere in the US market here. And then Shannon asked a follow-up question, just to a brief mention of mine. Why not use a pillow? A pillow is a low-density surface, very squishy, and screen printed transfers require a medium to a firm pressure in almost every case. It's very difficult to achieve the pressure that you need with the heat printing pillow. And so therefore, we recommend the Print Perfect pads. Looking to see if I have one nearby. Let me look in this drawer. So this is a pillow. You can see how squishy it is. The Print Perfect pad is more of a material like what's on the corner of your heat press. You can get those in different sizes to raise your print area. I recommend using those. You can get them over at the Transfer Express website. All right, some more questions coming in while we're cooling down. Chris asked, what's the minimum number per sheet for the screen print and transfer? So it does vary by product. The Ultra Color product that was the full color option, that's a 5-sheet minimum at your full 11.5 by 18-inch sheet, or a 20-sheet minimum if you're just ordering by the image, even for a small image. Most of our other screen printed transfers are 5 pieces minimum, and that's featured right on the price grid. Of course, cost goes down a lot once you get to 10, 15, 20, and so on, because it is a screen print result, and there is the fixed cost of a screen. Where can we find the mini tees? So hopefully we can link to those mini tees where you guys can get them. I know they're over on the stalls.com website. I'm not sure if Transfer Express has them as well, but if they are, let's link to them there as well. All right, some more questions coming in. Wow, cool. Hi from Romania. Good to have you this morning. I think that's the first time I had somebody from Romania. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and Cindy, definitely something close to Denver. Yes. A lot of companies are on the East Coast, but we have been very intentional about expanding both our material inventory for vinyl as well as our screen print transfer manufacturing. They're co-located in that same building in Chandler, Arizona. All right, I'm going to look for maybe another question or two, and then we should be close enough to apply here. And just to be clear, we're applying screen printed transfers today. No heat transfer vinyl has been applied. Saw a question on that earlier, all from Transfer Express. And then transfers can apply to cotton and polyester. Primarily, there are some special use transfers for nylon as well. So make sure you look at the website. Our AquaTrue product is great for nylon, but our standard products we've used today are cotton and polyester and blends. All right. And we do ship our screen printed transfers to Canada as well. So I just want to mention that. One last question, then we're going to heat press our next thing. Mike asks, when using Stahl's fashion film, can I apply it at a lower temperature than the 320 to avoid scorch marks on polyester? So I hesitate to say yes. From a wash durability standpoint, you'd actually be better moving to an Ultra Weed, which is our latest heat transfer vinyl, which can apply at 260 degrees on polyester, which is awesome. However, if you only have fashion film and you're in a jam, off the Stahl's record, typically polyesters can apply at a lower temp generally with the adhesive that's used on fashion film. If you're doing cotton, you definitely wouldn't want to come off of that application. But if it's a very low percentage of cotton or 100% polyester, I'd feel pretty confident that you could try that, Mike, down at 290 degrees, do your own wash testing, but I think you'd have success on 100% polyester. All right. And then, sorry, I know I said last question, but I have to take this one. Are there foil metallic transfers? The answer is yes. Our foil transfers at Transfer Express actually start like clear when they're applied, and then you add the foil as a second step. I have one deep in a box over here, but I don't have it prepped today, but we will make sure that we cover foil transfers, and we have lots of videos on our YouTube channel, Stalls TV, if you just look up foil, and you can see those and how they work. All right. And Michael, you can screen print transfer photos with the UltraColor product. So the UltraColor product will allow you to do full color and photo quality. So photos are no issue. So we're going to use Elasti Prints. Elasti Prints, I don't have a shirt for this design pulled, but I wanted to show you this design because I think it's pretty cool and an opportunity for this year. So a lot of 5Ks, 10Ks, running events are still happening. And so usually those have sponsors. And I think with funding being a challenge for many organizations this year, they're going to be seeking more sponsors and they're going to want their name on a shirt. When you think about running events and everything, cycling, whatever it may be, Elasti Prints is perfect because it goes to 100% polyester. Typically you want something lighter weight. So think about this. Think about this concept. This shows you how to use a full sheet. Elasti Prints doesn't have the grid. It's a little bit, I saw Eddie. I don't think Eddie's watching today, but he's always, I'm always communicating with him inside of our Facebook group. But he tried Elasti Prints for the first time on a big order this past weekend. And Elasti Prints is a little grippier in texture. It's not as smooth as your traditional goof-proof or Plastisol ink. It just has a slight grip to it, more of an athletic feel, I would call it. And so we're down at 300 degrees. I'm actually going to press some shorts here. And I have a transfer. So these shorts can be fine on the standard platen, but they're going to be kind of tough for me to support without them wanting to hang and fall off. Maybe I can get it there. So it's going to be a best case to swap out this platen. There's a little lever underneath that just opens up. Grab the platen corner to corner. For those of you that are having issues changing your platen, grab corner to corner, right? And you're going to lift straight up. Make sure your knob's out. I say that, and then I'm having an issue. Let me look what's happening. All right, I'm off center a little bit. There we go. Corner to corner, lift straight out, and you should have success that way. If you try side to side, it's going to be tough, and you're never going to pull it up exactly straight. I'm going to go ahead and make sure this 6x10 will fit my transfer. So I'd like to use that one, and it will. So I'm going to load my 6x10 platen. This platen doesn't have the quick slip protector on it. So this quick slip protector is typically sold for every platen and slides down over top of it. That protects the corners of your platen and also makes it easier to slide shirts on and off. On this 6x10, the reason I don't like to have it on there is because typically I'm using it for items like this, and I like to have the grippiness of the platen to hold my item without me having to adjust it. So I'm just going to split a leg of these shorts and thread it on, and you can see now they can hang there with that directly below it without an issue. Now, because I did change the platen, I'm just going to check my pressure. Elasti Prints 300 degrees, 15 seconds. So I got to change it from 10, and it's a cold peel. So I've done this Mid-Park Lions design. It's just a 2-color. It's tough to see through there, but you'll see it when it comes up. I was able to fit 6 up on a sheet. And if you watch my back to school webinar yesterday, you know that designing with a common design size is really going to save you money when you're setting up your web stores this year. It's going to make it easy to be able to apply that to items like shorts or polos or bags, all with one print size. So I'm going to position that into place. It is easy. You have to trust me, but it's pretty easy to see your design through the white paper as long as you have a second color. And in this case, I have gold as well as white. Accidentally only pressed it for 5 seconds, so no worries. I'll just let it go up, and then I'm just going to press it for the full 15 seconds now, okay? So I wanted to get full 15 seconds in succession to make sure I reach the melting point of the adhesive and I get good bonding and contact. Again, Elasti Prints is a cold peel, so I'm just going to catch the handle of my auto open, break the seal, and then let it go. Has a nice shock opening. And then I'll remove the item from the press, let it cool completely down before I peel the backing on this. Now, I was only at a 3 pressure on there on the heat press, and I didn't adjust that to make it more of a 6 or a 7, which would be my typical medium to firm pressure. That 5 to 7 is medium to firm. The reason I left it down on a 3, I'm going to give you a chance to guess. All right, so why do you think I didn't take my pressure up to a 6 or 7 on that? Give you some time to think about it. I know we're on a 20-minute lag, so I can't see responses, so I'll just pretend. I'm guessing somebody got it right, but in case you don't know the answer to that, anytime your bottom pressing surface gets smaller than your standard 16 by 20 heater, you're actually getting more applied pressure onto that location. So if you use a Print Perfect pad or a smaller platen, and you press it at like a 7 or an 8, I mean, that is a very, very firm pressure on this small surface. And so, yeah, Jim had the answer right, size of platen. When you're using the smaller platens or a raised up print surface, you don't need as high of a feeling pressure or digit of pressure on your machines. Pressing something at 60 PSI on a small 4x4 or 6x10 area is most definitely going to leave a mark or over apply the pressure. So be careful when you're going to smaller platens and smaller pads and print zones. You can adjust it. If you want to get into the rule of thumb for that, multiply 16 by 20, right? I'm good at math, but I'm not that great at math. I think that's 320 square inches. That's your standard platen, right? And then multiply 6 by 10. That's 60 square inches, which is about 1/6, maybe 1/5, 1/6 of 320. So cutting that pressure in half at least in half, is going to be a best practice when you're using the smaller platen. When you're using the air presses, you have to have at least 20 PSI, so you really can't go below 20 PSI on these small platens, and you shouldn't. All right, so here we go. This is about cooled down, just a little warm to the touch, but I'm going to go ahead in the interest of time and peel. And then we have our completed result. Mid-Park Lions, again, with Elasti Prints. There's no way to communicate this feel. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's kind of grippy to it versus your smooth surface. But it still feels great. And the nice part about Elasti Prints, as the name implies, it also has good stretch and recovery. So if you have a little bit of stretch in your garment, Elasti Prints is going to be a better solution than a traditional goof-proof transfer as well. So that's my little bit more than a nickel tour through some of the lesser known transfers. For those of you that may have missed the beginning, I want to make sure I pull up the Transfer Express homepage once more to show you that you can get $5 off a $50 purchase on the Pearl Prints or the Glow in the Dark that I just went over. And that promo code is directly in the header of the website. It's the letter T, special, and then the number 5. We'll save you $5 off a $50 purchase. Request some samples. That runs through the end of this month. So you should have plenty of time to try that out and then place your order. And then watch this video back if you missed the beginning, and you'll see how to apply cool patterns into our ultra color, full color transfers. All right, so let's see. I'm going to take a couple more questions before we conclude today. Not sure I understand David's question. How much for the couch? I don't know what that means, so sorry about that. A little bit of feedback on the 16 by 20 autoclam, so don't believe me. But I know you guys love these presses when you buy them. And then here's a good question. Tavoy asks, what's the best printer that can be used for a 13 by 19 paper size that I can start a business? I'll give you my opinion, and this is just my opinion. I don't think there is a good home printer on the market to do dark colored fabrics with transfers. I really think you're going to have to jump into a printer cutter workflow. And unfortunately, you jump up quite a bit in size and cost to use solvent or eco-solvent inks to really get the durability. So that's why we do so well, honestly, at Transfer Express, because we invest in that high-end equipment and come up with new processes and then just sell the transfer to you as well. And so they're very quick. So if you can build a little bit more time into your workflow and get up to quantity, that's a good way. Sublimation is great. So if your blank fabrics can handle sublimation, then Sawgrass carries a nice variety of printers that their inks are designed for. But again, sublimation is only for light colors, have to be at least 65% polyester, but they complement a vinyl cutter and what you can do with a vinyl cutter very nicely, and also allow you to get into hard goods. All right. And then lastly, is the puff available only in white? We actually have the puff in white, and then it's also can be used as black. Those are the two colors in the puff. And you can actually incorporate the puff inside of a design with like goof proof. So some areas of the designs can puff and some not. I've seen that used for like laces on a football is one good example, but there's certainly a lot of other interesting ways you can incorporate that into your design. Puff is just a selection within that Easy View designer. So I know we're some more questions we're running up on the end, but I can never stop answering. So if you're interested in platens, I'll tell you the platens I have. Auto clam comes with the 16 by 20. I think must-haves are the 11 by 15 inch and the 6 by 10. Everything else is a nice to have, but if you're buying your first heat press, get the 11 by 15 and get the 6 by 10. That should cover most of your applications. If you decide to go with the Fusion or something like that, you'll want to get the leg and sleeve platen, but the leg and sleeve doesn't work as well with this because of the base. So I bought the leg and sleeve pillow, and that's what I use. Just a little smaller print area. I have to use vinyl instead of transfer since I'm using the pillow, but I can get it done. I don't know. Are we brokering couches today? Can I see the couch? Are there any stains on the couch? All right. You guys are losing me, but glad you're having fun and creating conversation inside of the group. I want to thank you for joining our live today. Hey, I'll be back with you Thursday at 11 broadcasting to Facebook and also to YouTube. Thanks for watching.